Our next speaker is the CEO of the Leminar Group. Please put your hands together as we invite on Mr. Navin Valrani.
Thank you, Dave. I have to say, when I was very, very young, and I used to drive to school, or I was in the car to school, I used to hear this man on the radio, Dave Crane. So it's a pleasure to be introduced by Dave because he's quite a personality here in the UAE. I want to start off by welcoming all of you. I've met a few of you through the morning. It's great to see our customers here. Without you, we wouldn't be standing here. I wouldn't be standing here. It's great to see our principal suppliers who have flown in from all over the world here today. And of course, it's great to see my colleagues at Leminar, many of whom are here today, but there are many who are not spoken for, who are behind the scenes and are in the office managing the day-to-day affairs. So a big, big thank you to all of you. I wanted to actually talk a little bit today about this talk that seems to be going on in the media and in the broader economy about us being, as a nation, in a down cycle. Now, there's been various statements by various individuals that have been quoted in the press that we're going through, economies move through cycles, and that's a fact. No one can deny that. All over the world, economies move through cycles. Who in the room, interestingly enough, thinks, and this is just a broad survey, that right now the UAE economy is going through a down cycle? So who, show of hands. Don't be scared. No one's gonna, there's no, I see a few of you, or like a number of you at the back. Okay. So if you speak to a room of retailers and you ask them, is the UAE going through a down cycle, I think the whole room would put their hand up. Okay. And there's a lot of talk, thanks to our burgeoning retail sector, that, the times are tough. And I want to address this whole idea of we're going through a down cycle. So the first thing that, what drives most economies in the world is population growth. Anyone have any idea what's UAE's population in 2018, roughly estimated? 10 million, very, very close. Unfortunately, we don't have a hotel stay for that answer, but it's actually estimated to be 9.6 million. 9.6 million people. Did we have population growth from 2017? Who thinks yes? Did we have population growth in 2018 over 2017? Who thinks yes? Yeah, okay. So according to published figures, the growth was about 1.5% in population. Anyone have any idea what was the population at the start of this century? So year 2000. What was UAE's population in the year 2000? 3 million. Okay. So we're talking over 3 times, so 300% growth in 18 years. Is that impressive? A country has grown 3 times. Just think about that. For those of you that have been here in the last 18 years, we have witnessed history. Countries do not grow 3 times in 18 years. So we've been very, very fortunate that we've been in a position where we've seen a nation that has gone from 3 million people to 9.6 million people in 18 years. I'm reasonably good at maths, and I'm sure many of you are, because I know I'm among engineers. But if we do the next 18 years, and if the UAE government continues, or the UAE nation continues to grow at the same pace as it has in the last 18 years, what will be the population in the year 2036? So 9.6 multiplied by roughly 3 times, 27, 20, about 30 million. I think that's a good 30 million people. if the UAE continues at the same pace. Now, I, for one, believe that the UAE will continue at the same pace. I think, and there's a number of reasons for this, and I will touch upon some of those reasons in today's presentation. But really, what causes population growth? One is birth rates. So obviously, you know, when the birth rates of a nation are reasonably high, that adds to population growth. But what has really taken the UAE from 3 million to 9.6 million people is migration. The UAE has attracted and continues to attract population. And why is that? Why does everybody want to come to the UAE? Well, not everyone, but why do people want to come to the UAE? So there are a number of factors. One thing that drives it is employment, so career opportunities. We're blessed with leadership that has continued to provide employment opportunities across the nations for both Emiratis as well as expatriates. The other, in my view, is weather. Now, weather plays a much more important role than people give it credit for. Most people in the world prefer the sun over the snow. For those of you that have traveled in, things are getting pretty cold right now in Europe and in the United States. Things are getting beautiful out here in Dubai. I think most of you, or in the UAE, most of you may be sitting outdoors in the evenings. Now, this is a major factor. A lot of people are willing to compromise on salary, potentially, on earning, to enjoy good weather. There is a significant population out there that is willing to do that. So weather, we're blessed in the UAE that for around about 8 months, we have weather that we enjoy. And even in the summers, which are warm, I would any day take the summer over a cold winter. I was in the United States about a week, 10 days ago, and I was there for one day. And the one day that I was in the United States, on the East Coast, a snowstorm hits. And it was not pleasant. I was praying at that time that I wish I was in the Dubai summer, because the Western winters are not fun. The other thing is this infrastructure that has been created by our leaders. The infrastructure surrounding education. So Dubai is a great place to educate our children. Safety, security, and of course, entertainment. And there's various options all over the country that can, and you know, when you put all this together, the UAE is really a great place to live. I know, you know, in our earlier videos, we talked about Leminar being a great place to work. The UAE is a great place to live. Okay, so the UAE has created this model. So the question now is that, you know, I've been through this model. I now want to move on to a very important subject, which is oil. Oil prices seem to be bouncing up and down. We had a few slow years, and oil income is important for the region. The region is blessed with the natural resource. So as oil price moves up, obviously the governments are making much more revenue. They're making much more revenue. They can spend a lot more. Anyone can guess what's the cost of Saudi Arabia, which is the most cost-effective producer of oil in the world. What's the cost of production for a barrel of oil? So the oil price is around about 55 now, $55, I think, $55, around about 60. Brent is at about 55, I think. What's the cost of Saudi producing that barrel of oil? Yes. Yeah, $8 to $10. $8 to $10. Okay? It's pretty shocking, huh? I mean, most of you are in the world of business. When your margins are $40, when you're making $40 on something that is produced for 10, that's pretty good, right? Very, very good. So, tremendous amount of wealth is generated every day, whether the price is 50, whether it's 40, or whether it's 80, or in the past it's even been over 100. A tremendous amount of wealth is generated. A tremendous amount of wealth is also preserved in terms of reserves. And across the region, including the UAE, the UAE has, I was just looking it up, the UAE has 18 years of oil reserves. 18 years. That means if we stop producing oil tomorrow, we have still 18 years of it sitting with us. Okay? So, who will suffer the most when the oil price goes down? That's a very, very important question. Who will suffer the most? Which nation across the world will suffer the most when the oil price drives down in terms of oil-producing nation? Does anyone have any idea? I'm hearing someone said the right answer out here. The United States. Why the United States? Because the cost of production of a barrel of shale oil is round about $40 to $50. Okay? So just to give you how oil plays out. So oil income is actually very, very attractive right now. Till about a week, 10 days ago, it was around 60 to 70. It had quite a big drop in the last couple of weeks. But in general, the OPEC nations, and in particular the GCC nations who produce oil, are very happy when oil is sitting at $50, $60, $70 because they're generating a tremendous amount of wealth. And that wealth goes back into the nation, goes back to the citizens, goes back into development. There's also the attraction of one particular city in this country, and that is Dubai. I travel all over the world. I've spent more time on a plane than I have on the ground over the last year and a half. And I can tell you, without exception, no matter where I go, this could be in the outskirts of the United States, to European nations, to Scandinavia, to the Mediterranean, to the East, everyone wants to come to Dubai. Every single person I meet, from the Uber driver, to the teacher, to the business person, to the investor, they all want to come to Dubai. Try it the next time you travel. When you go to India, or you go to Pakistan, or you go to anywhere in the Arab world, ask the guy who's driving you around, what do you think of Dubai? So Dubai has done an unbelievable job in terms of creating a perception, which is obviously based on reality, that this is a great place to visit, a great place to work, and a great place to live. So you have the attraction of Dubai. You also have some very exciting things happening in Abu Dhabi in the same vein. The development in Abu Dhabi is very, very attractive. So if you are a visitor today coming to Dubai, it would be almost impossible for you not to visit Abu Dhabi. There's the Louvre Museum. If you like the theme parks, there's the new Warner Brothers. There's obviously the Ferrari theme park. They have the Formula One racing that just got completed. And Abu Dhabi is creating some real landmarks. I mean, there's the Grand Mosque, which is absolutely stunning. So Abu Dhabi also has done significant development and is becoming a real tourist destination. So this Abu Dhabi-Dubai partnership is really working well for the entire nation, because we're attracting more and more visitors to come here, and more people who, when they come here, say, you know, the weather's nice, great place, safety, security, education. We want to work here. There's also, you know, who's been on the top of the Burj Khalifa? I would have expected the whole room to put their hands up. So when you go to the top of the Burj Khalifa, I think it's the 120-odd floor, and you look down, what do you see? What do you see? What do you largely see? So you're right on the top of the Burj Khalifa. What do you largely see? You see, yeah, okay, if you look really down, you see Dubai Mall next to you. You see the roof of Dubai Mall. It looks very small. What else do you see? Largely. Someone said it here. A lot of land. You see a lot of land. And I can tell you, whether you're a nation or an organization, nothing benefit. One thing history has taught us, that if you want growth, you need land as a nation. If you want growth as an organization, you need land as well. Land to build factories, office space, etc., etc. And Dubai, as much as you think it's developed, has plenty of land. Abu Dhabi has even more land. Northern Emirates has a huge amount of undeveloped land. So this to me is all opportunities. Opportunities waiting to happen. As the population keeps growing, as those birth rates keep coming in, as the birth of children keep coming, we need to build schools, we need to build hospitals, we need to build infrastructure. All this has to happen in a nation that has a tremendous amount of wealth. So the question is that if, I've just presented this rosy picture of the UAE, then why this talk? What's caused this whole talk about this down cycle? You go for dinner somewhere, everyone's like, oh, it's going through a real difficult time, things are tough. What's causing all this talk? Year on year, there's continued growth. But it's the other sectors which is driving this talk, and those sectors are a lot more prominent. So what has caused this talk? So I have a view on this. Number one, technology. Now, put yourself in retail. Name me one retailer that you know for sure in this country, in the UAE, that has had tremendous growth in their sales. Souk.com. The answer is right there. Souk.com. Who owns Souk.com? Amazon. So, you're a traditional retailer, I won't take any names, but you're a traditional retailer in a mall, and you're complaining now that, you know what, sales are down. But are sales down because you, as a traditional retailer, have not transformed your business or acknowledged the impact that technology is having in terms of disrupting the entire sector? Because Souk.com sales are through the roof. Souk.com sales are through the roof. So we really have to question then the leadership of these retail organizations that have taken a bet on a sector by creating massive amounts of physical stores when the entire industry, the customer base is moving to a non-human touch type environment. Today when I want to order something, I'm relatively busy, I don't want to interact with a human being. I want to open up my machine, I'm on email anyway, I open a new tab, I go to Souk, I click what I want, and I know when I go home it's waiting for me. Great. No, don't have to speak to anyone. My credit card's already entered. Amazon has this beautiful one-click order. In 2 seconds, I have the product. And then, by chance, if I don't like it, I can even return it. How do you compete with that type of model if you are a traditional retailer? So technology has played a huge role in disrupting the retail sector, in my view. The other area where technology has played a really, really disruptive role is in the sector of advertising. There are 2 companies in particular that have disrupted the advertising space. Does anyone know who those 2 companies are? Not YouTube, but it's the owner of YouTube, actually. Google is one of them. What's the other one? Facebook. Facebook and Google. You can today be a 14-year-old child sitting at home, creating a business, and advertising it to a global population with a few clicks. And the entire space now is dominated just by 2 companies, Google and Facebook. Whatever you read in the press about all the issues that are happening on privacy and election rigging and all the rest of it, the fact is that no one can compete right now with Google and Facebook. So, as an organization, do I want to advertise in a traditional magazine? Many will say no. Many will say no. Advertising budgets of organizations, I can tell you even in the Sharawi group, 80 to 90% of our ad budget goes towards Facebook and Google. I don't want to get technical about what type of advertising, but that's the fact. So you have the retailers complaining, you have the advertisers complaining, and if the advertisers are complaining, the magazines are complaining, the entire media sector is complaining. If the media sector is complaining, the printers are complaining, and you see that chain. And the UAE economy, or for that matter, the global economy, has nothing to do with that disruption. I mean, with that, the cycle has nothing to do with that downturn in those specific sectors. So be careful who you are talking to. When you're having that, a dinner at night or with friends, be careful, which sectors do these people work in? Have they moved with the times? So technology is one really, really big area. The other area, in my view, that has caused this downturn talk are certain geopolitical events that have taken place. Now, I don't want to comment on geopolitical events. I'm not qualified to. But we all know what those events are. However, as professionals, what I would urge you to do is to keep an eye on how these events unfold. So as we begin to hear positive news on these events coming to a resolution, things can only get better. So that's how I would urge you, and I urge my team to view these events, because we have no control on these events. The third really big area that has caused this talk is VAT. So as we know, beginning of the year, the UAE government implemented a 5% VAT. Now, when you take away 5% of disposable income, in effect, from families, that's a lot. And if you look at data across countries who have introduced VAT, there's clearly, by and large, there is an impact, a negative impact on GDP when VAT is introduced. Okay? The good news in this is that VAT income, which is being collected, which is estimated to be roundabout between 12 and 20 billion dirhams, has to come back to the economy. The one thing I know, I'm pretty much born to this nation. The one thing I know is that the leaders want to put money back into the economy. So the good news, when VAT was introduced, the oil was at a very different level. As VAT collections started coming in, oil started actually rising. So we have the benefit of oil income, and we have the benefit of VAT income. All that has to come back into the economy. So I actually expect more and more project announcements. And I hope I'm right. I think over the coming months, you will see more and more project announcements. So I think the construction sector, which all of us belong to, is in particularly good shape in the coming years. So, what else has caused the cycle talk? The fourth factor, and the last one in my opinion, is actually, again, something that is out of our control, and that is interest rates. As you know, we have a currency that is pegged to the US dollar. And because we are pegged to the US dollar, our interest rates follow the United States interest rates. So the United States right now is actually booming. The economy is on a real high. So the central bank in the United States is raising interest rates. Every quarter, they come up with a small little raise. A raise in interest rates in the United States means a raise in interest rates here in the UAE and in any dollar-pegged country. That raise in interest rates actually harms the economy because people's borrowing costs go up, organizations' borrowing costs go up. Some organizations that are heavily borrowed cannot service their debt, and we start seeing cracks in the economy. And that we are seeing. So organizations that did not take care of their balance sheets during the good times are under particular pressure as these interest rates go up. So actually speaking, if the United States slows down, we will see things in Dubai and the UAE pick up because interest rates will start dropping again. So this is another thing that I would encourage all of you to look out for. In terms of Leminar, we look at this as an opportunity. We look at these times as a huge opportunity, and I would encourage all of you to do the same. I think if you're looking to, on an individual level, to buy an apartment, this time will not come back. In 2009, when the global financial crisis hit, and we were obviously impacted here in Dubai, it was the best time to buy real estate. None of us expected Dubai to recover as quickly as it did. It's a global case study on leadership, on recovery, and came 2013, and prices were heading right back up. So it was an opportunity of a lifetime to pick up real estate. Now we're seeing dips again, and we're seeing deals like we've never seen before, offered by developers. This time will not come back, in my view, because of what I've just outlined during this presentation. I think there's a lot of money there, there's a lot of liquidity, and I think the UAE's population will keep growing and growing and growing. So I think this is a very, very special time. From an organization standpoint, we are investing. We're investing in facilities, we're investing in technology, and we're investing in people. Now, these times also are forcing us to relook and make ourselves a lot more efficient because we're competing with organizations that are truly global. So we need to be efficient. But having said that, I think this is a very, very unique time here in the UAE and particularly here in Dubai. I'd like to end with just one particular event that is taking place here in Dubai, and that's the Expo 2020. There's been a lot of talk on the Expo 2020. Much of it is, hey, it's an event. It'll come, it'll go. But I want to give you the significance of this event. Does anyone know what's the target for the Dubai government and the UAE government, the broader UAE government, in terms of visitors to Expo 2020? What's the number? What's the number? Wait, someone, I want to pick. 25 to 30 million. I think they're sort of aiming for 25, hoping for 30. Okay. Dubai, do you agree Dubai is a nice place? Beautiful place, right? Because there's no city like Dubai in the world. So, 25 million people are going to come to Dubai from all over the world. First organization that's going to gain, at least in those 6 months, is obviously Emirates Airlines. Bringing these people in, taking these people out. But these 25 million come. What percentage of these 25 million people you think will say, you know what? I want to buy a flat here. This is a really nice place. What percentage? I'm going to continue the conversation with you. How much? 10%. Wow. Okay, so we say 2.5 million people are going to say, you know what? We want to buy a flat here. How many of those 2.5 million people actually will buy a flat? 10% of that? So 10% of 10%? Okay, so it's 250,000, right? There are not 250,000 homes available in Dubai today. There are not 250,000 homes available in Dubai today. Just to give you a significant, the significance of Expo 2020. If 1% of the visiting population, just 1%, decides to buy an apartment, those apartments aren't available. I know many of you are building towers, typical tower, 40 stories, each floor, 8 apartments, 320 apartments per tower. Think about how many towers you need to get 250,000 apartments. 1,000. Dubai is not building 1,000 towers. So the significance of Expo 2020 cannot be underestimated no matter what financial model you run. So hence I come back to this is a great opportunity. Great opportunity for all of you. Most of you are leaders in some way, shape, or form. If not leaders of organizations, leaders of departments, if not leaders of department, leaders of families. This is a great opportunity. This is a time we will be looking back on, in my view, and saying, you know what, we missed the boat. So, in conclusion, my humble request is that look at this nation positively, have a belief in the leadership. You see our 2 logos of our 2 different Leminar organizations have the words commitment and trust. We will continue to be committed to this nation. We will be continuing to trust its leadership, and we will be both committed and trustful towards our service and our delivery and our offering to all of you. So with that, thank you very, very much.